There's a question I want you to sit with for a moment. Who do you think is Tesla's biggest competitor right now? If you said BYD, that's a reasonable answer. BYD sold more electric vehicles globally than Tesla last year, and their prices are aggressive enough to make any Tesla showroom manager nervous. If you said Ford or GM, that also makes sense. They've poured tens of billions of dollars into electrification, and they're not going anywhere. Some of you might even say Toyota, because Toyota is finally getting serious about batteries after years of betting on hydrogen. All of those answers are logical. All of them are wrong. The company creating the most serious long-term challenge to Tesla's future doesn't make cars. It doesn't have a factory floor full of robots assembling doors and hoods. It doesn't have a showroom. It doesn't offer financing. It doesn't have a charging network. And yet, if you understand what Tesla is actually building toward, you start to realize that this company might be one of the most consequential forces shaping whether Tesla's vision succeeds or gets handed to someone else. The company is NVIDIA, and the story of how a semiconductor and artificial intelligence company became one of Tesla's most complicated rivals is one of the most important business stories no one is telling clearly. To understand why this matters, you first have to understand what Tesla actually is. And this is where most people get confused, because the answer has changed dramatically in the last few years. When most people think of Tesla, they think of a sleek electric vehicle pulling up to a supercharger somewhere in California. That image isn't wrong, but it's increasingly incomplete. Elon Musk has been explicit about this for years, and Wall Street has started to price it in. Tesla's market capitalization sits around $1.49 trillion as of 2026. That number doesn't make sense if you're only thinking about car sales. Tesla delivered roughly 1.8 million vehicles in 2023. Toyota delivers more than 10 million. Volkswagen delivers more than 9 million. And yet Tesla's market cap dwarfs both of them combined. Why? Because the market isn't valuing Tesla as a car company anymore. It's valuing Tesla as what Musk says it will become, an artificial intelligence and robotics company that also happens to sell cars to fund the journey. The three pillars of that future are full self-driving, which is Tesla's autonomous driving system, Optimus, which is Tesla's humanoid robot, and energy storage, which powers the whole ecosystem. The cars are the cash flow. The AI is the bet, and that changes everything about who Tesla's real competitors are. If Tesla's future is built on artificial intelligence, on teaching machines to see the world and move through it without human help, then Tesla isn't just competing against Ford in a parking lot. Tesla is competing against every company that is building intelligent systems capable of doing what Tesla wants Optimus and full self-driving to do. And at the center of that world, building the chips, the platforms, and the software frameworks that power nearly every serious AI project on the planet sits NVIDIA. NVIDIA's core business is designing graphics processing units, which most people know as GPUs. For years, those chips were associated with video games, but around 2012, the deep learning revolution arrived, and researchers discovered that GPU architecture was uniquely well suited for training neural networks. NVIDIA was in the right place at exactly the right time. They built software frameworks around their hardware. They invested heavily in AI tooling, and they became the de facto infrastructure of the entire modern AI industry. Today, when OpenAI trains a large language model, they use NVIDIA chips. When Google builds a new AI system, NVIDIA hardware is almost certainly involved somewhere. When Tesla trains its neural networks for full self-driving, they use NVIDIA chips. NVIDIA isn't just selling processors, they are selling the foundation on which artificial intelligence is being built. For a long time, this wasn't a competitive problem for Tesla. NVIDIA was a supplier, Tesla was a customer. The relationship was straightforward, but starting in 2024 and accelerating dramatically into 2026, something changed. NVIDIA began building platforms that don't just support AI development, they enable competitors to build the exact kinds of systems that Tesla is building, and that's when the relationship got complicated. The first major moment came with the Isaac GROOT platform. GROOT is NVIDIA's open robotics framework. It gives any company in the world access to the software stack needed to teach a humanoid robot how to perceive its environment, process that information, and take physical action. The goal of GROOT is explicitly to accelerate the entire humanoid robotics industry. For NVIDIA, this is a smart business move. Every robot manufacturer that uses GROOT runs on NVIDIA silicon. More robots mean more chip sales. But here's what that means for Tesla. Elon Musk has described Optimus as potentially the most valuable product Tesla has ever built. Tesla has invested enormous resources into developing developing a humanoid robot that can perform useful physical tasks initially in Tesla's own factories, and eventually, Musk hopes, in homes and industrial settings around the world. The vision is that Optimus becomes a mass-market product that transforms Tesla's revenue beyond anything the car business could achieve. But now, any company in the world can take the GROOT framework, combine it with available humanoid robot hardware, and build a competitor to Optimus without needing to develop their own AI stack from scratch. NVIDIA has essentially handed Tesla's potential competitors a significant shortcut. On June 1st, 2026, NVIDIA made this concrete in a way the market couldn't ignore. NVIDIA unveiled its first commercial humanoid robot built in partnership with Unitree Robotics, a Chinese robotics company. The robot combined Unitree's physical hardware with NVIDIA's artificial intelligence platform. The announcement sent shockwaves through the industry. Tesla's stock fell 5% that same day, and it's worth pausing on that number for a moment. 5% of $1.49 trillion is roughly $74 billion in market value. That is more than most car companies are worth in total. Tesla didn't lose a factory. Tesla didn't have a recall. Tesla didn't miss an earnings target. NVIDIA announced a robot partnership, and the market erased more than $70 billion of Tesla's value. That reaction tells you something. Investors who follow Tesla closely enough to hold that stock understand what Tesla's valuation depends on, and they saw the NVIDIA Unitree announcement as a meaningful signal about the difficulty of the road ahead. Elon Musk's public response to the announcement is worth noting because it was unusually diplomatic. Musk said, "I honestly hope they succeed." That is not typical Musk language. Musk is known for direct, often combative public commentary. When Boston Dynamics shows off a new capability for its Atlas robot, Musk is generally quiet, but the NVIDIA Unitree announcement drew a measured, carefully worded response. That coded diplomatic language from someone who publicly revels in competitive rhetoric suggests a level of seriousness he isn't willing to fully acknowledge out loud. Now here's where the story gets genuinely strange, and this is what makes the NVIDIA-Tesla relationship one of the most unusual in the technology industry. NVIDIA is not simply Tesla's competitor. NVIDIA is also Tesla's supplier. NVIDIA's technology is embedded in Tesla's AI infrastructure. NVIDIA chips are connected to the development of full self-driving, and beyond Tesla directly, NVIDIA supplies chips to xAI, which is Elon Musk's separate artificial intelligence company. So you have a situation where NVIDIA is simultaneously powering a company that Elon Musk controls, competing against a company that Elon Musk controls, and selling infrastructure to everyone who is also competing against a company that Elon Musk controls. That is not a simple rivalry. That is one of the most complex competitor-partner dynamics in the history of technology, and it raises a question that doesn't have a clean answer. When NVIDIA sells better and better AI tools to the entire market, who benefits more? Tesla, because Tesla is already sophisticated enough to use those tools effectively, or Tesla's competitors, because they get access to capabilities they couldn't have built on their own. The autonomous driving dimension adds another layer to this picture. Tesla's full self-driving system is central to the robotaxi vision that Musk has been describing for years. The plan is for Tesla vehicles to operate as autonomous taxis, generating revenue for Tesla and for vehicle owners even when no human is sitting behind the wheel. The economic logic is compelling if the technology works at scale, but Tesla is not alone in this race. Waymo, which is an Alphabet company, meaning it's owned by Google's parent company, is already operating paid autonomous rides in 10 American cities. By March of 2025, Waymo had crossed 450,000 weekly paid rides. Tesla at the same point was running limited trials in Austin. Waymo logs approximately 360,000 miles per incident. Tesla's vision-only approach, which relies on cameras rather than LiDAR, has different characteristics and a different safety profile. Morgan Stanley, one of Wall Street's most closely watched analysts on this space, rates Alphabet as a strong buy and Tesla as a hold, partly on the basis of Waymo's lead in autonomous driving. The same firm projects that Waymo and Tesla together will account for 70% of all autonomous miles driven in America by 2032. But within that projection, Waymo is positioned as the front runner. Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, said publicly in 2026 that Waymo is obviously ahead and that Tesla needs what he described as a ChatGPT moment to catch up. That is a reference to the breakthrough that made OpenAI's technology undeniable to the general public, a single event that makes the technology's capability suddenly obvious to everyone watching. NVIDIA's technology increasingly supports the autonomous driving ecosystem broadly, which means that as autonomy scales globally, NVIDIA benefits regardless of which company's vehicles are doing the driving. Here's the bigger realization that all of this points toward: the story isn't really about NVIDIA versus Tesla in a direct head-to-head fight. It's about who controls the infrastructure layer of the future that both companies are building toward. For decades, the most important infrastructure in the automobile industry was physical. It was factories, supply chains, dealership networks, and fuel distribution. The company that controlled those physical assets had power. That's why the legacy automakers were so hard to disrupt for so long. But the future that Tesla is chasing, and that Musk describes when he talks about Optimus and full self-driving and energy ecosystems, that future runs on a different kind of infrastructure. It runs on computing power. It runs on AI training frameworks. It runs on software stacks that teach machines to perceive and act in the physical world. And in that layer, NVIDIA has a position that is arguably stronger than any position any automaker ever held in the physical world. Every serious AI project needs NVIDIA chips. Every robotics company using the GROOT framework runs on NVIDIA silicon. Every competitor to full self-driving that is scaling quickly is building on top of tools that NVIDIA created and controls. Tesla understood this dynamic earlier than almost anyone, which is partly why they built their own custom AI training chip called Dojo to reduce dependence on NVIDIA. But Dojo is still maturing, and in the meantime, the world of humanoid robots and autonomous systems is accelerating, and NVIDIA is the common thread running through almost all of it. Here's the question I want you to think about and leave in the comments below. Tesla's trillion-dollar valuation is built on the belief that Tesla will become the defining company in AI and robotics. But if the infrastructure powering that future belongs to NVIDIA, and if NVIDIA is now arming every Tesla competitor with the tools to build faster and cheaper, does Tesla's lead in this race look as secure as the market currently believes? Because the company that controls the picks and shovels in a gold rush doesn't always care who finds the gold, but the miner who depends on one supplier for their tools is in a more complicated position than it looks. For years, Tesla's most important battles were fought on roads and in showrooms against companies that made vehicles. But if Tesla succeeds at becoming the AI and robotics company that Musk envisions, it will find itself in a different kind of competition with a different kind of opponent, not a car company, an intelligence company, a company that doesn't need to build a single vehicle to shape the future that Tesla is chasing. That's what makes this one of the most important stories in the technology industry right now, and it's almost certainly not the last chapter. If you want to stay ahead of these shifts before they show up in your driveway or your investment portfolio, subscribe to Driven to Distraction, because the industry is moving faster than the headlines, and we're gonna keep following it wherever it goes.